Heron.
Here.
Ava J.
Here.
Foster Neal. Andy Goldston. John Sparks. Ewer.
Here.
Margaret Maynard.
Here.
Get everybody? All right, so we've got some March 14th minutes that should be pretty straightforward with the only exception of we may not have seen the fee schedule stuff that we approved just because it hadn't been kind of typed up at that point, so everything else should be.
Scott, I wasn't at this meeting, can I ask a quick question on that?
Yeah, should
Or
we
would you wanna wait till the minutes
probably
approve?
get a motion?
That's fine.
Yeah, first, I'm guessing, so is there any, can anybody make a motion to?
I'll motion that we accept the minutes last meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, so now.
Now, can I, okay, you guys, I was not here, so please, we have two schedules, a 9 and a 10-week schedule. Why do we have two
Right.
schedules?
So that was when we were talking price changes for the pool. This year is a 9-week schedule because school is getting out a week later and they're going back the same time. So that's gonna cut into the pool season. But the 9-week schedule got based off of a 10-week schedule, which is what you see there, which would be what we would shoot for in the future. So I wanted to present what the prices would be for a 10-week schedule in the future and where the 9-week schedule prices were based off of and what the 9-week schedule would look like this year.
Okay, well then my question would be, I understand with school starting later, okay? My question would have been, is there any option to open the pool from 4 to 7 that week that the school is still going? Not the whole time, just like 4 to 7 and then on Saturday. Has there been any thought to that?
There's not. I'm not saying there is not a chance that that might be able to happen. It's gonna completely depend on staffing.
I don't know, it's just a thought, Josh.
Right.
I mean, I know you got your training in there and all that good stuff that you
There's the
do.
training, but there's also the registration that we normally do. And so we wouldn't have anything registered. It would just be open swim in the evenings. You'd pay your day passes. We
But you could
wouldn't
do your
probably-
registration during that week.
That's the problem. I don't think we'd have the staff for that.
Oh, to do both.
Right. So that's, if we opened, it would probably just be open swim in the evening, and people would just have to pay their day passes, and then register the next week. So it's really, you're coming in a week early to swim, but you're not getting registered for anything yet.
But that's just assuming because of the schedule for the kids, I mean, for the workers. I mean, and maybe it might be different depending on what you figure out.
If I have enough college kids, I could possibly make something happen.
Okay.
High school kids is what it's gonna really,
Well, your seniors are gonna be gone, and, I mean, your
they're gonna
seniors
be,
are gonna,
yes, they're gonna be done unless they're in the middle of, if baseball goes far, or if other sports go far, depending on
understand,
what
I understand.
you do. Like I said, it all depends on a number of those things. Could I probably staff in the evenings for just swimming? Yes. If I have enough college students back, then I could also possibly do registration in the morning.
I'm asking that you look at that.
Sure.
Because first of all, it does give you, I mean, these kids are starting to get, I'm just saying that, I think at one time, years and years and years and years ago, we used to do that. We used to open at night before school was out. Years ago, remember, I've been there for 30-odd years, okay? So, I think it was like the week before school was out, you had registration and you had night swimming.
Okay.
I don't know, just. And the other thing I wanted to know,
Sorry, real quick, right back to that. I will work on that,
absolutely, yeah,
but we also normally have a week or so of getting the pool set up with staff. And that's getting everything pulled together, opened up.
I don't know, I'm
That's
just
if I
asking
have-
you to look at it.
Yes, and so that's, if I have people back even the week prior to that to be able to get things opened up and set up, then I can consider if I have enough staff to also staff it for that stuff. But yes, I
I'm
will.
just asking you to look.
Yep.
And the other question I had is, didn't we talk about, and I'm sorry, maybe it should be under the pool thing, I'm sorry. Didn't we look at one time about keeping the pool open until later?
Yes, so the time schedule on this is not reflective of what we wanted to do there. We are looking at staying open till 9 o'clock in the
Okay,
morning.
thank you, thank you.
So it looked like, for what we basically had to approve last week.
Which is the rates.
Was just recognizing that we didn't wanna charge people the same amount for a week less
Right,
of
right.
things, and so he came up with a pretty nice
Yep.
way to just scale it back a tiny
Yep.
bit. Yeah. And so,
I appreciate you letting me ask those questions.
but everybody's had a chance to see that, and it seems like what we heard last week too. Did anybody see anything that they wanted to, make any modifications to in the minutes? They have Tom, kind of be recognized because of the time.
Yeah, right.
Right, this year for his passing, and I don't think there's anything else really atypical in any of that, yeah. I guess, any other discussion or take a vote to approve the minutes? Okay. All those in favor of approving the April 11th, 2024 meeting minutes, can you say aye?
Aye.
Mark?
Any abstain? Any noes? Since we do have a guest, there's always the option that depending on, if now is the time for any public comments, or if you're just coming to listen to the meeting, that's. We've appreciated your participation and, joining us over the years. So nothing, public comments, and then as we go into, I'm assuming general business, can we start there, or do we need any communications?
Nothing in communications, so we can move on to general business.
Completely new, out of left field, so to speak?
More or less.
All right, so my apologies for this not coming to you guys sooner. It's not like this is holding anything up, it just could have come to you sooner. The social district is in the final stages of being, the application is in the final stages of being approved by the commission to be submitted to the state for our social district licensing. Along with that though, we need to address whether we are okay with amending the ordinance regarding alcohol in the parks in Pocket Park and Mitchell Creek Park because they fall within the social district. Now, I believe you should have a copy of what that ordinance would read. If you look at point number 3, that is the amendment, that is the adjustment. And then you should also see a map, just so you guys see what the social district looks like, okay? So it is the downtown footprint, it is the outline of the social district. Where alcohol can actually be carried, is designated by the hashes. Those are called common areas. They cannot go into other buildings. So if you were to purchase alcohol, say at Crankers, and you were to walk out into the parking lot, you would have to walk in the hashed areas. You couldn't go through a building out to the other side. You can't carry it through a building with you. And then you could go over to Shooters. And even once you were to establish, get yourself to Shooters, you can't take that alcohol into Shooters. You have to finish it, discard it, and then go into Shooters. So it is, the social district is just allowing the alcohol to be outside of a premise, okay? You also can't cross Maple Street with that open intox. So you'd have to finish it, cross Maple Street, then go get another one. And any alcohol that we're considering allowing, say, in Pocket Park or Mitchell Creek, has to be purchased in the social district. So it has to be in a social district cup. It cannot be brought in on your own. So this is not bring your own beer and bring your own cup, or bring your own cooler. This is not what this would allow. It falls under the social district rules and the social district plan, which would be, it has to be purchased from a social district licensed business, whether that be Schuberg, Shooters, whatever, in a social district cup with a sticker on it that says social district, and carried down in.
Oh, boy.
I know, wow. It's a lot to expect the citizens to get to know, but is there?
That's the whole point of the social, so with the social district, there's the educational point, there's going to be pamphlets, there's going to be information at every business, it's gonna be on every business participating as well, to make sure that they have, hey, first time participating in social district, awesome, here's a pamphlet, here's a map of where you can take it. There's going to be signage each of the road and alley entrances to the social district that say you are now entering the social district or you are leaving the social district.
And maybe on the, if it gets approved, maybe on the city, park entry points too, because of the fact that that's a high demand area.
Yep.
Sometimes it'll say,
How are they
you
gonna
know this, or
police
you can do this.
Yeah,
How's
are
it gonna
we
be
police it?
policed? So it's going to be, if you don't, it's not a clear cup, then you're not drinking it legally. It has to be in a social district cup.
So there's no actual like gathering spot, like social districts that I know of have an area where, like Rockford had an area that's just right out in front of all their little restaurants and bars. They had benches and tables and that's where everybody kind of went, like you got your beer, your sandwich and
So
everybody
that's
went there.
something separate that they're working on as a part of this. They're working on adding more downtown seating. And obviously then someone could go into Pocket Park and enjoy the music during the concerts and have a beverage. Carlene's planning more concerts as well on Thursday evenings for for entertainment and things for people to purchase and come down and enjoy. But there's also something that the DDA is working on, partnering with the businesses on. Right now, they're starting with restaurants to provide downtown outdoor seating. Whether the business chooses to service that seating or not is up to the business. If they service it, it's not public seating. If they choose to not and just partner with the city and have seating outside of their businesses, whether it be overflow seating, then that's also considered public seating, and social district people could, hey, I just ran into so-and-so down here as I was walking from one business to the other, and I wanted to stop in and have a beer with them and chat, whatever that may be. When there's a new business down where Fatty C's was, ideally there's going to be the outdoor seating right there as well. The goal is to have as many businesses as we can participating in this, even if they're not a restaurant, just so that there is more public seating downtown that presents itself as available to people in the social district utilizing it.
So Josh, there's no time limit in the regulations, so,
The time limit falls under the social district standards, which is 12 to 10.
till 10 PM. So then even if a business is open later than that, or if somebody got a social district cup and decides they wanna have their gin and juice at the park, and then we have a group of, whether they're college students or homeless people or us board members.
The social district closes at 10.
And so that's gonna be something that has to be educated and then presumably enforced, so.
Yep, that's also gonna be on all of the signs entering and exiting the social district will be the hours of the social district. And the fact that, as Rockford stated, a lot of it was educational. It wasn't to get people. A lot of people, they happened to cross the street and didn't even realize, oh crap, I literally just left the social district. So, their chief of police said it was a lot of just, hey, just so you're aware, come back this side of the street, you're out of the social district, but over here you're fine. Things like that, you're gonna catch some people downtown, hey, it's after 10, guys, you gotta either dump it, finish it, or, whatever. But it's gonna be educational for a lot of people at first, and that's exactly what the police have recognized, so.
It's gonna be interesting.
Does any measure of liability lie with our city parks
With our city,
insurance?
no,
Who does it rest with?
well, it rides with the city, not city parks. The city is taking that on by getting the license to have the social district. But it doesn't fall specifically on parks, it's on the city.
I have a couple questions. Josh, can you explain, well, I guess I have 3 questions. Can you explain why you can't cross Maple Street, please?
State road,
Because it's a state road?
correct.
Okay.
That's state law, state road.
That's one thing I think
is
you're really gonna
very-
see a lot of,
Oh, I'm sure, yes, and even that has been acknowledged as, we'll do what we can to police that, but if someone walks across the street in 2 seconds and there's not someone right there, or someone isn't calling, Rockford recognized the same thing. If someone's not acting belligerent and unruly, are we gonna come down on them hard for crossing a street? Don't be doing something otherwise that you really, really shouldn't be doing. That's what Rockford said, so.
then the other question I had is why did you include Mitchell Creek Park in the, zone?
Simply because it's in the downtown district. So when the social district was originally addressed with the commission and approached to say, hey, we would like to pursue doing this, they said, we wanna do the downtown footprint, and Mitchell Creek falls within that.
So you have like a,
If we do, and I should clarify this for you guys, if you guys don't want the parks to be a place where you allow alcohol as part of the social district, that's perfectly fine. This modified ordinance would go away, and then we present it to the commission on the 15th stating, we want to do the social district, we just, the Park and Rec Board recommends that there not be alcohol in these parks though.
Okay, my point is, I understand why Pocket Park, I sort of do, it's right there by Schuberg's and Raven and all that, you know, or Blue House. I mean, I understand that. I have a concern about Mitchell Creek Park
Okay.
because it is so far removed from your alcohol establishments.
Sure.
And I think that people would try to bring in their own more
I'm sure they
so.
would,
So
they already do.
I would like to see us say, yeah, Pocket Park, go for it, but not Mitchell Creek. That's my take on it.
I will give you at least the information based on a conversation that I had with someone who, owns the ice cream shop right there.
Yep.
They said if I can, I would get my liquor license and make alcoholic shakes.
But that's okay, let them get their liquor license, then make a decision.
Correct, I'm just saying, and we can modify this at any point. We can always come back and modify it. Rockford's modified it 3-4 times. So there's nothing saying that we can't. I'm just also saying, they've thrown that out there as well. So,
I actually like the Mitchell Creek Park spot, only because Randy and I hang out there a lot. It's a little quieter, and because there isn't a gathering spot yet, and until you got a gathering spot, that's probably where we would go. The two of us would get our drink and go there with a group or whatever, because I don't wanna sit downtown the way it is at the moment. But if they did something like Rockford, I would be all for that.
there's, you know, we tend to use Hemlock Park and the band shell for a lot of events, and anytime if you wanted alcohol, it's gotta come to us as a board, it's gotta get approved. It's a small space, but Mitchell Creek Park, if it, you know, fit into into one of these social districts, then you have a better draw for downtown without the added hoops to jump through to do something. You know, so even if, so whatever could be happening that would be appropriate event-wise potentially in a small park like Mitchell, then you have that added attraction of they can do that without the extra hoops that you would have to do.
But they're still gonna have to get the cups from one of the participating members.
Right.
You can't just have a wedding reception down there and have liquor.
No, I wouldn't think about that, but what if you had like,
at that point, you're not getting special permission to have alcohol in the park, you're getting special permission to have a beer tent specifically.
Right.
yeah,
You've already got the permission to have the alcohol, but you're just at that point filling out a special event form saying, we're gonna have a beer tent, here's who's serving.
it's more, how do we get better usage of our downtown area? And then I don't know if I have the right, but is this the best way to do it, right? Is this the way to increase the usage, knowing that we'll also have a trash recycle cup issue, you know, as well as bathroom issue. The more you drink, the more you go. And if you're not at the establishments anymore, then you're gonna be looking for the bathrooms at Mitchell Creek Park to be open till 10 p.m. at least, or the, you know, when you're down at Pocket Park, I guess you can come over here to the building. So those are things that have to be thought about too. But, yeah. Would anybody else have any questions?
I will say, and I should add this, the chief of police advocates for doing this, but understand, if you don't want it, that's fine, understands, but I'm just letting you know, she advocates for doing this as well, as it's a part of the social district, it's gotta fall under those rules, so.
Are there any changes in like or like driving? Can you drive through these areas?
Yeah, so the
during-
roads are not closed.
Okay,
The roads are not closed in the social district.
and then will that affect like parking availability if town does get busier? I know like during certain parades that, you know, people are parking out into neighborhoods and.
So, I don't think we're gonna get the busy of like the Festival of Lights parade.
Yeah,
So I think there's still going to be ample parking for what we're looking at having.
currently.
Personally, I like that we're even having this discussion and getting this going, cause we travel out of town to go to social districts like Rockford.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool, it's gonna be right in our backyard.
Yeah, it might be a little crazy for a while, but once everybody calms down and figures out the scheme and where things are, and just the whole general layout of things, I think it probably will work.
I just wanna make sure I'm clear, you guys. What do we call this? I'm sorry.
Social district?
Social district, sorry. I really love the idea of that. I'm just concerned about Mitchell Creek Park. I really like the idea of doing that, because like you said, people walk around downtown. I think it helped the businesses downtown, everything else. And I think what you're gonna find is some of these parking lots, people are gonna, behind Shooters, I bet you're gonna find people are gonna congregate behind Shooters in that parking lot. You know, or behind Schuberg's, or, you know, those kinds of places. That's great, not a problem, but I just worried about Mitchell Creek.
I think like the gathering spaces are really gonna be important to develop for this.
No, I agree, and I will tell you that in conversations with the businesses, because that was where this whole thing started, was with the downtown businesses. They wanted it. They wanted it though at a time where Michigan Avenue didn't need to be shut down. When social districts were first brought out, that's what it was. Is your street got shut down in order to have the social district. Can't shut down Michigan Avenue like that with it being the main drag to the middle school. Once that was not a thing, the topic came up again, and they really wanted it. A lot of people said, "You gotta have it before I'm willing to put money into doing something or having something." Schuberg's Bar and Grill wants to have a beer garden out back. They aren't gonna do it if they don't have a social district in place to do it first.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that people are saying, I'm gonna do this if there's this.
Right, right.
So that's why this going forward is gonna open the door for a lot of people. So the gathering places, the other things like that, those should be coming along because this is here. It's, if they're there first, people have invested money, and if the social district doesn't happen, then they've invested money.
Right,
So,
no guarantee of return.
The social district, I don't know anything about the state regulations. I've seen in other cities down in southeast Michigan where, well, you're seeing more businesses even using what would have been areas where there's parking space as well as the sidewalks in front of their business for more tables, more activity. Does that typically fall under social district things where they've now kind of like encroached in a sense?
some have done that within their social districts. That's not something we plan to do, but some have done that. Yeah,
So
you
it
know,
falls within that broader, that's how they justify using street space for things. I just didn't know. if
it's
that's
turned into a when it's social, because some of that stuff is removable too. So it's like during the hours of the social district, yeah, we're gonna block off parking spots and those are gonna turn into extra seating for tables and chairs. Outside of that, it's open for parking. So each social district has their own uniqueness as to what they want to do. So ours does not include closing off parking spots. It does include the idea that there's going to be more downtown outdoor seating.
That's one way to bring more people downtown.
Sure is.
In the wintertime, Rockford has little bonfire pits and they have a stack of wood, so you go get your beer and throw a log on the fire and talk to people. It's fun.
I'd have to think about those limitations, cause I don't think you can really have fires in the parks or in parking lots.
Downtown is a no-burn district, but
Well, it's time to bring some fun back to town.
there's probably certain spots that we can start having those conversations. I mean, we talked about having a fire pit at what would have potentially been the farm market ice rink. And having a fire pit there for gathering and heating and everything like that, so.
And you talk about it at the trailhead, the depot, but that's a little outside of here.
But
Okay.
Well, I really appreciate your concern for Mitchell Creek Park. Thank you. And I guess I'm afraid that from time to time, people will get their little clear cup, bring their own beer, refill it in wherever, whatever little nook or cranny they're in. And we have to rely on I guess our law enforcement to look out for that. But this whole idea, and including Mitchell Creek Park, boy, I really like what I'm hearing here, what I'm seeing. our town is loosening up a little bit, if you will. We don't seem to have had an awful, enormous amount of problem with our softball playing and alcohol consumption at all three of our venues. I have, as Josh is, boy, he's big into the softball, but so was I once too, and for, gosh, 30 years. You can count on one hand the times that officers have had to come down to, because a softball player got absolutely.
I would say that for sure in the
Control.
last 3, if not 5 years, I have not heard of an instance where an officer had to be called to break up a fight that was started because of alcohol or anything like that.
But my point is to you all, us on this board, is that we've been zooming along with softball in our, or alcohol, in our softball parks for years. And boy, I look forward to giving this a go.
Rockford
Josh said,
stated
though,
that their
too, we can
concern,
change it.
sorry, go ahead.
You know, if it becomes an issue in Mitchell Park, then, like Josh said, we can readjust the social district boundary.
If the whole thing becomes
No, I don't think you
A
need to do
social-
social district boundary, it just,
Well, I just meant take
The
Mitchell
common
Creek out
area,
of it.
redacting that.
where the
from
alcohol
common
is,
area.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If the
Rockford
whole
had
thing
said at
became
one
a
point that they,
social district disaster, the city commissioners can just end
yeah,
it.
stop it, yeah.
Gee whiz.
Rockford was very concerned, they had very similar concerns, not only on their part, but from their citizens about the abuse of the alcohol. Are we gonna see more partying, are we gonna see more issues within our parks or anything like that? They said we actually saw the opposite. We saw more families coming out and moms and dads with their kids walking around downtown. Dad might have a beer, mom might have a wine, but they're walking around town, they're enjoying the park, the river walk and everything like that. We didn't see anything increase in problems, so.
It does put a bigger, burden on police to not only police it, but to not profile in the sense of, like, now they're gonna be making judgment calls about who is or isn't following it, or who may or may not have gotten alcohol at the establishments, and, they're gonna have a harder line to walk because of the fact that it's not easy to police anymore, and when you add into it, again, you're gonna have to make judgment calls about.
Apparently the chief of police is
Yeah,
good
yeah,
with it.
I mean, so
he's
we'll
good
have to
with it.
let them give that a go if we do, if
They're
it gets
fine with it.
approved,
Try
but,
it.
but it's something from, I think, it's not easy policing anymore, and you add alcohol into it, or the police is making the judgment of who can or cannot be.
Right.
That's the bigger problem, right?
Yes.
Potentially.
Correct. Well, and to be fair, along with whether it's the judgment or giving an officer a reason to interact with you, the number of people that I've already heard even say, well, the alcohol's right here. People are walking around with their Yeti cups with alcohol in it to come to the parades, the ball drop, to this, that, or the other. It's already there. But it's in a Yeti cup. And so if that person's not giving an officer a reason to investigate it, the officer has nothing to go on, then that person's drinking freely, openly, in public. Unless someone calls and says, hey, they for sure have alcohol. At least in this case, it's a clear cup, so you're gonna have to see it. And if you see people gathering in a parking lot, refilling plastic cups, going to their cars with their plastic cups, like, you're gonna have a reason to check it out.
We'll see where the MIPs go, see whether the college students try to push the
Oh, they'll be
age
behind,
envelope.
they'll be behind shooters.
Okay. But, so is there any other discussion? Anybody have any other questions? So, let's see, so at this point, we haven't made a motion or anything, have we?
No. The motion would be the recommendation that the commission, accept this or change the ordinance to reflect this as stated.
So be it. I will make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor of making this motion for the ordinance amendment about social district and alcoholic beverages, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody abstain?
Me,
Okay. Anybody say no? Okay, so abstaining.
I'll abstain.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting experiment.
If it doesn't work, back to square one.
Maybe Big Rapids needs to get out of its own way sometimes.
Can I ask a question, Josh? You brought this up. Where am I at? Across where the ice arena farmer's market was gonna be?
Yeah.
Is that being thought of to be an open space? Cause that would be a great one.
I mean, it's an open space.
No, I mean, but is that thought, but I'm sorry, do you know what I mean, in the social district?
It's within the social district as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be great if you could,
Do something there. So on
Establish
Fridays,
that.
we're gonna have the farm market there. The farm market has moved across the street to that spot. So,
well,
only on Fridays. But that's not saying that someone couldn't go down, if the social district's in play, grab a beer at Schuberg's and walk down to the farm market with their beverage and shop the farm
is the
market.
farm market gonna be like what it was here, just open? I'm so sorry. I mean,
it's okay.
like, there's not gonna be there's gonna be tents from the vendors, but that's it, right?
There's
At
still
one
gonna
time,
be.
they were talking about putting it undercover.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Still not gonna be covered.
Okay, but I mean,
Still wide open, yes.
but I mean, you can still put some benches in like the corner up here by Michigan and.
Yeah, there's still gonna be those, like the picnic tables, and especially with the downtown seating coming out.
Right.
If there was a picnic table in front of a business and now they're doing the downtown seating, that picnic table is free to move somewhere else, like in a wide open area where we would love people to gather. So, yeah, we're
Like
gonna have
this
some
area.
options, right, we're gonna have some options, and especially with the farm market moving across the street,
Right,
it's gonna make sense. So the, picnic table that was sitting out here,
Yep.
kinda next to the entry to City Hall.
Yep.
Probably gonna move across the street.
Awesome.
So, yeah. And we've got some flexibility with that kind of stuff, so. Okay. Naming new playscape doesn't have to happen. John couldn't make it, so we can carry on.
Okay, so just hold that up next month.
Yep. So the next two are really just updates. Hemlock Park, they are planning to begin the removal of Hemlock, or Playscape, right after Memorial Weekend. So right there in the first bit of June, they're gonna start removing that, disassembling. They're gonna be doing their coordinating of who gets, the parts that they really are wanting. So they're gonna be working on that. And then ideally, after the 4th of July, everything's going to be finishing, getting prepped to be built on. At that point, it's really, the building is only a matter of waiting for the supplies to show up.
and that's just Playscape, that's not Splash Pad?
It's Splash Pad too. That's the overall Hemlock project. That's same thing where we're waiting for the supplies to get here. But that goal is to be late July building, done by late August, September at the latest, at the absolute worst. But again, that only fluctuates based on when that stuff is here, when we actually have the supplies to do the building. So that's where we're at with those projects. Okay?
Yep.
Skate park, very similar, it's going out to bid. Pretty sure we're set there, and we should know then at that point, ordering the supplies, what the turnaround on those supplies is going to be, and I wanna say it's very similar in timeline when it comes to Hemlock Park stuff, as to when that should be getting built, assembled and everything. And I do believe this is still a two-phaser, isn't it? Yes.
Can you remind me again where that skate park
Yeah,
is
Sweet Hill Park.
intended to be?
Sweet Hill Park. You got Gypsy,
Oh.
and you've got the parking lot across the street, and then you've got Sweet Hill.
Yep.
Yep,
And that's
so
a
it's gonna be
great
in that
big
Sweet Hill
grass
Park.
lot.
Yep, it's gonna be in the grass lot.
Not paved right now.
Right.
Yep, so that's, we're gonna put there, that is where they're going to put the skate park and pump track.
Okay, when you
Last I
said
knew it was
two
here.
parts, you meant the skate park was one and then the
Pump track part two.
project is the other one, okay.
That yard there. It's,
Really?
no, it's,
So, that's where we're at. On the bid, we'll have even more information Actually, well,
Can you update us on the, Trailhead Park? The Depot Park, what are we calling it, Depot?
yeah, Depot Park.
Depot Park?
Trying to think of what the last I've gotten on that one was.
I know we've at least approved them to put out, to write a grant, so there's, I'm sure there's I don't know, has a grant been secured on that yet?
I thought it
We
had
got the
that.
grant. No, I know, I think we're gonna have to wait for Heather on that one. Every grant that I'm aware of that we've put out so far for the Depot Park, I was pretty sure we've got.
I thought so, I thought we'd gotten it back.
Correct. And so I think it was just a matter of,
Maybe Fleece and Vandermeer, I don't know.
right, I think it was just a matter of finalizing those and going on from that, but it's best to wait for Heather to get back on that one, she'll
Can
be
we
back
put that
this
on the
next
agenda
week.
for next month?
Well, even at that, I can,
whatever.
she's back this next week from spring break, as soon as she's back, I'll get an update from her, we'll just email you that update.
That's fine, thank you.
Good.
Okay.
I think those are the only projects we had, right? The Depot, the Hemlock, skate park.
Are we at a point with the dog park where either the water will be, getting back on?
Everything in the parks is getting opened back up, actually, they were just waiting for that, warmer ground and everything like that. All the parks are starting to get open, porta johns are getting ordered, bathrooms are opening up, water's getting turned on, so I would imagine that if the dog park's not yet, it will be probably soon.
And so they'll see like a porta john there, and then they just gonna not have their dog houses back, is that the?
I'm not sure what the plan is with the dog houses going forward. I knew we moved them for a little while there, but I'm not sure when or if they intend to put them back.
I haven't heard any.
Or if they're maybe gonna put different amenities there instead of dog houses. That may be something they look into as well, is instead of something that's more of like a housing unit, what else can we put out here for the dogs to do?
Agility course.
Right, maybe it'll be something like that, so. Yeah.
Any other parks?
Like a ropes course.
No, not really a ropes course, just the things that the dogs sometimes do.
You know, those poles that they
Jump
bob and weave.
things and weave and go up and over and.
Like the
Fitness,
big tube
fitness
that
park
dogs
thing.
The one that's down there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, any other unscheduled business? Anybody wants to bring up? That's a good thing. Should we call the meeting adjourned? Do that at 7:09.
I'm not gonna be able to be at the next meeting,
Okay.
okay? So I might see emails, so.
Well, we definitely won't update on that one at the next meeting. We'll just send you the email.
That would be fine.